by the end of day one, we had 150 people who had signed up as volunteers. It was clear that there was a groundswell of enthusiasm because, and I'm sure people will remember that at that time, there were a lot of people who were trying to find a way to help, to do something. I think one of the things that appealed was the fact that it was giving people an opportunity to use their specialist skills that they had spent years or decades developing, put those to work. Knowing the stresses that a lot of organisations on the front lines were under, there was an opportunity to use the digital skills that they had to help create solutions to support those who were on the front lines. We tried to get things going as quickly as we could because it's obviously an emergency situation, and so from that conversation to launch was about 3 weeks in the end, and the mantra was that we wanted to deliver things in days to weeks, not months to years. So very much trying to make sure that we identify things that we could deliver with a pool of volunteers, get it done quickly and get it out there to help people who were on the front lines. So the number of active volunteers is a few hundred at any one point in time. We've worked with about 250 different organisations to give them support so far. What became very apparent to us in those first few months was that although a lot of the things we were hearing about were either caused or exacerbated by the pandemic, actually there was a much deeper and underlying problem of organisations, particularly in the third sector, not really having access to technology and really struggling sometimes to be as effective as they could be. And so all of that was what really was the catalyst for us deciding that there was a longer term role that we could play with the Scottish Tech Army. So we've transitioned from what was very much a COVID response initiative in the first instance to an organisation that has a much broader remit around tech for good more generally. Very often these initiatives are relatively disconnected, they're not that well coordinated. So one of the things that we're keen to do is to help play a part in trying to coordinate some of that and to build the Tech for Good ecosystem. Receiving notification that we'd been nominated for an award on the News Honours list was a huge surprise, to be honest. We'd only been around for, by that point, about 8 months. It was something of a surprise, obviously very gratifying, and it really, for me, it was a huge acknowledgement of all the work that all the volunteers that had signed up had done, because if it hadn't been for them, it would have been just being this friend of mine, two guys with a crazy idea that never went anywhere. One of the things that is quite sobering is the fact that during the pandemic, charitable organisations, the last estimate I saw was that there's going to be something like a £12.4 billion gap in funding for charities. But for me personally, I think being able to provide some financial support is a useful thing to do. But for me, it's much more personal to be able to get involved actively in working on some of these projects, and being able to see directly the fruits of what you've been able to do.